All right, welcome everybody. It's George Leoniak here at New Geometry, and I'm here today with Hunter Hughes for another new conversation. Hunter just was part of my 8-week Sacred Geometry Apprenticeship, so he's joining me here today to share a lot about his interest, how he followed his path in sacred geometry, how he ended up at the apprenticeship, how the apprenticeship went, and all the other fascinating things that Hunter is into. He's a fantastic young, great geometer, loves building forms, doing drawings. So we have a lot of his work that we've got in a little slideshow to show as well. So thanks for being here today. And Hunter, we want to add in and introduce yourself a little bit more for our audience?
Yeah. So, hi everybody. My name's Hunter. I'm 24. As George said, I was a part of his geometry apprentice group. Had a great time with everybody. Really enjoyed the communication with everybody and getting to meet everybody. And yeah, so
Yeah, cool. Well, so what was your, when we were just talking a little bit, you said you followed a bit of a trail to even find the apprenticeship. And in fact, I think my first memory was probably back in just in the YouTube channel chats, I think, right? Something around Metatron's Cube or something along that lines, I think maybe.
yeah, in 2020, Robert Grant started posting stuff on Instagram. He was teaching mini lessons, and I was interested. I didn't really know a whole lot about sacred geometry. At the time, I was going through a lot of health issues. It's a big part of my story. Is also why I'm here, is because I am an artist and I didn't do anything for about 4 years, just being really sick. And geometry looked like something that I could start working on that was easier. I didn't have to put as much energy into it. It wasn't as strenuous. It was just compass, pencil, ruler. And I felt the beauty in the drawings. So I wanted to experiment with that. So from Robert Grant, yeah, that inspired me, and then different projective geometers. And then I started working with the flower of life in the Platonic solids. And essentially that's all I knew how to do. And I kind of felt like this feeling like I was kind of in Narnia at times, where I didn't really understand how it was too expansive, and I didn't understand. You could make endless variations of mandalas, forms. It was just endless to me.
Yeah.
So that's where eventually I discovered you, George, through Ether Force, a spiritual science community. And I started instantly just being attracted to your videos and what you were talking about with 5 circles and these new patterns. And I watched like all of your videos, and then I was just hooked, basically.
Yeah, your enthusiasm for each week of the drawings and sharing throughout the week what you were working on was just awesome. And I think it was really cool because I love the way you love to work with the 3D models as well. Like you really shared that interest and passion with mine, and you would create some of the models from the drawings we would do in the group, and then kind of create some of the ones I didn't even give you guys templates for. So I mean, you really had that knack and skill. So we're about to share in just a moment of some of that work throughout the apprenticeship as well. But anything you wanted to say about what really attracted you to working with the models? Because I do that in my videos a lot as
Yeah.
well.
Um,
It
it
sounds
was
like
definitely,
it sounds like you had that interest before you got to me.
I've never built a model before finding your channel. I think between you and Frank Chester, seeing how he was working with his sculptures, I was like, I didn't really know if it was for me, to be honest. I didn't really know anything about sculpture, paper sculpture, anything. And my first ones were not that great. And then I bought a book, I learned some techniques, and it's how I got started basically with that.
Yeah. Well, it's really exciting to hear how much progress. I'm really thankful, I guess, to hear how much the YouTube channel that I have here has kind of helped guide you in that direction, even if you didn't come through the apprenticeship. But working in the apprenticeship, I think probably helped work with the 5 circles more and get a little bit more into it. But
Mhm.
let's show some of the work, Hunter, because I'm sure you probably want to talk a little bit about that. Things we could see some right in your background there, the dodecahedron that you colored in, and the great stellate
Yeah.
dodeca and chestahedrons and all that. But
Well, yeah, I'll show this one right here.
okay,
Um,
you want
I'll
to share
show
your
that
screen
one.
or am I sharing mine?
Yeah, I'll share my screen.
Okay.
I gotta get to it for a second. How do you share here?
If you just scroll down to the bottom of your screen, the bar should flash up. And let me just make sure you're available to share. You should be.
Okay.
Yep,
Got
you
me?
started sharing your screen. So I do see just a black screen. There you go. You've got all those images.
Okay.
Oh, these were just the ones I think I had pulled up. Is this your folder, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, so I don't have to do it on my end. You've got it all.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
If you wanted to point out something specific, it's up
Oh,
to
no,
you.
that's fine. I could see it right from here. Mhm.
So this one was the great stellated dodecahedron, and this one was really interested me because it gave you enough information in this one picture
Mm.
to draw this, or I mean, build this form. And so here it is here, all done.
Yeah.
And this is like my trophy from the apprenticeship, my trophy star.
That is,
And I think just something, I think this is a meditation in itself, just seeing that and then seeing it here in your hand. It's like unbelievable.
yeah,
And
and
it's,
you built
it was
that.
a,
You built that right to scale too, like right off
yeah,
the template there, right?
right off that drawing.
Mhm.
So it's exactly if you were to pull it out of the paper.
Hmm.
It's awesome.
Yeah, you did a fantastic job on that one. And the model looks really sweet. It looks like way better than the ones I do with tape. But your technique has really come together.
Yeah, it's pretty
Oh,
solid too.
oh, that's pro style. That's awesome. Nice.
Um, this was a really cool one that George found, his golden truncated octahedron.
Yep.
And I had a strong interest in this because of the golden hexagon face right
Mhm.
here. I actually, it's funny, I meant to get the paper, but I sketched before I even took the apprenticeship. I was messing around with, I wonder if there's a golden hexagon form, like there's something, a form where it's used. And
Yeah.
I actually drew this view
Oh, did you?
exactly.
Just on the edge like that?
Yeah, I drew the view
Mhm.
before the apprenticeship, but I just didn't have enough. I didn't know enough to go any further.
Oh, amazing.
So now, I think if I did that now, I would definitely be able to discover something with that.
Yeah. That's a sweet
Um,
little form. I haven't even really talked about that in the videos because it's 2 icosahedron are in that form.
yeah, here's another one I built.
Yeah, I'd love to see your models when you're not screen sharing too. So just put some of those ones you're showing on the side because they're a little small on my viewfinder.
Okay, apologies.
Yeah, no worries. It's just the way the technology is.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
see
So
what else we have here.
what about the that dodecahedron you colored in the 5 cube one? That was one of your first week drawings, I think. Blue dodecahedron to the right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was our first drawing.
Hmm.
Um, I really think it was just a great starting drawing. I mean, I know you kind of just wing it, and you don't really know what you're going to always teach, but I love this for um, the first drawing we did, especially because, Frank Chester says it's represented of the male and the female
Hmm.
and humanity. And I think it's a symbol of joy.
Oh, yeah.
I think much of sacred geometry is a symbol of joy.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And that's what I narrowed it down to. Like, why do I feel so attracted? Why do, for instance, like me and Q, we both had experiences of like feeling lighter or more playful like 2 weeks into our apprenticeship. And I
Mhm.
just think it has to do with working with um, these templates and these forms.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. So that is definitely what I've been observing is the kind of continued healing process that continues. And the beauty is the magic of the forms, they just work their own magic, really. You know, it's
Mhm.
just connecting with the geometry that underlies them. And it's kind of like big ahas that all of a sudden, because it's not that difficult. It's not that the techniques are not so far out, even though they produce some very complex images sometimes.
Yeah, they look it. It scares people off for sure. I'll show people things and they'll just like they don't understand how I'm able to do it.
Uh-huh.
But I think that's the elegant. It's like elegant, and there's a key of information you need, and that is to me like phi and just some basic understanding of how to work. And it's really like it's elegant, you know. So
Yeah.
this was an idea I had where I was visualizing if I could open up a dodecahedron and see something inside. So I was putting a three-dimensional star in there.
Mm-hmm.
And
Oh
if
yeah,
you
leave it up for a sec there. I mean, because right there, I mean, that's the beauty of this golden circle template. I mean, you went from the seed of life, which is, the six hexagonal perspective there, and then you drew the decagon around it, and then you did the star in the middle, adding the five-fold symmetry right into six.
yep.
That's so
Yeah.
cool.
No, that's unbelievable in itself, just how you can get that perfect pentagon from the 6-5 ratio circles. It's
Exactly.
unbelievable.
Yeah, that's why I keep sharing so much in the other videos I'm putting out about how significant this pattern is of introducing phi. I mean, because you're really quite limited in the creative possibilities if you're just doing seven circles over and over again. At least
Yeah, I that was my problem. I felt lost. I didn't know what I was doing. And I kind of stopped for a while. So so I kind of expanded on that and I did a small stellated
mhm.
dodecahedron. Um, this I found accidentally. This was the Pentacus dodecahedron.
Yeah,
It was
right.
all
Too.
awesome. And this was the inverted
Ooh,
dodecahedron.
what do you got there going on there? What do you mean inverted dodecahedron? What's this?
If
Oh,
the
the backside?
if the sides were sucked in, I think they call it
Oh,
evacuated. I think
yes,
the
yes, yes.
word.
Yep, yep.
I went with inverted because I just like the word better. So
Oh, I see what's going on there. So those are projecting into the little hole on top of your dodecahedron there.
yep.
Those little points coming through.
Mhm.
That is awesome. That is really, really cool. I love the design that it makes in the middle there. That's so fantastic.
Yeah, I had to visualize that one a lot to see if I was getting it right. One thing is off is this line. If you can see my mouse,
Yeah.
this line right here should go here technically
Oh, I see.
because I added a thickness to it, but I still think it's a really good representation, and
Oh
it's
yeah,
really,
I think it's fantastic. I mean,
really
I love the way you're talking about this because you have to visualize this stuff, in your mind's eye. And that's really expansive,
yeah.
and how you perceive this 2D image is this three dimensionality that's there. And then to put it in your hand, like you've been showing with those other, did you build the excavated dodeca?
I didn't build this one now.
Hmm.
Maybe my next one.
Yeah, that seems like a neat one.
Yep.
Be cool to actually do it, the hole in top.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
You could see that
And
inside.
even one thing is also I want to get into like 3D printing and 3D modeling and like what is the future of how I could work with that because you can put like LEDs in them and light up stars in them and everything. Who knows?
Yeah,
So
definitely.
many possibilities. So
Well, you were going to mention a little bit about your other interests of working with healing light and
mhm.
sound and things like that. So, I mean, it sounds like a very nice overlap with your sacred geometry interests.
Yeah, I'll touch on that in 1 second.
Yeah, keep going through some more slides because I love seeing these. I didn't get to see a lot of these actually.
These were like right after our last meeting. I just had a little spark of excitement. And so I started, drawing stuff. This was the stellated golden cube octahedron.
Now that is cool. I was like, wow, that's two different size triangles, tetrahedrons there basically going on there. Yeah, and see, I think that is the beauty. Like you're coming up with things that I haven't even really thought or decided to draw or make or anything like that. So this, like I've always said in the videos, this is like a lot of unlimited possibilities with this. So I just love seeing where you're going with it.
Yeah, like I said, I really have a love for the golden hexagon. That was like one of the first images I sent you when I emailed you about wanting to join the course.
Oh, yeah. Well, we share that passion for sure. I mean, I love the golden hexagon. It's taught me so much. And I think that really that's a key shape and form to start working with to bring sacred geometry into the golden vector matrix, where you're not just working with the cube octahedron where everything is, equal edges. You're introducing the golden proportion to that. And this builds out infinitely and connects to all those phi ratio forms with the octahedron and all those. So, where you're going with this is so delightful for me to see.
Yep. So here's the fourfold view of that form I showed earlier.
Yep.
This was something I kind of just drew because I was having fun with it, really. I just loved it. Looked like a picture frame.
Yeah, totally. I've done the same thing because you're adding in the dodecahedron. It's very similar to this little form I've got here that I didn't show you guys yet, but that is connected to the, if you take two compound of two dodecahedrons, this is what you come up with. There's that golden hexagon face.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Little stellation. That's that little cap that you did right there. This little cap that's to the upper left-hand corner.
Yeah, it is.
That's the same little shape that you got going on there.
Wow.
You built it off the icosahedron face, but if you reverse that to a smaller ratio square in the middle, you'll come up with these little golden triangle-y type looking faces there. So anyway, there's another route you can go there. That's cool. Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, the stuff you do, I always love. That's one thing about the group in the Sacred Geometry course was that everyone has their own ideas and perspectives. And like when I see stuff you do, that gives me ideas. I'm sure you feel the same way.
Oh yeah, definitely. Don't ever limit yourself in your, checking out other people's work. There's so much inspiration to be had.
Yeah, this was, I forget what this was. I put notes on it, but I can't see because I have a screen here.
Looks like you rounded out the top of those octahedrons, the caps. You put a smaller octahedron in there and kind of rounded out that whole shape.
Yeah, this was like starting to stellate, basically. And then this was like, I don't know if this is 100% correct, but this is what I finalized with the stellation of that form.
Yeah.
Do you know if that's right or not?
I'd have to check the phi ratio between those two squares, but that's very, very close to this soul star. Probably is that if you connect those outer, you basically draw a polygon, octagon around connecting all those outer vertices. Those two squares are in the correct proportion. That would create that soul star shape that I just talked about in a recent video. It's actually, it's related to this form here by just connecting the outer vertices. I'm imagining that's what that might be.
Yeah, well, yeah, if you have any further insights on that, definitely I'm interested in knowing.
Well, I'm not sure, just we'll keep in touch as time goes on because you'll be coming up with things that probably I haven't seen before.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's this one right over here? JPEG 234. Upper right, top right row there, that one there. That's something similar to what was that the
that was one of our class projects.
Exactly. Oh, that's the 600 cell.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it just rotated to the side there.
Yep. This was a little graphic I made based off of the 19 circles, Frank Chester's pattern.
Yeah, now
Uh,
you were doing a little bit of that on your own. Let's see some of those because we didn't cover this in the class, but you started to get creative with Frank's mom.
yeah, this was one of his drawings, and I was like, I said, so inspired by his stuff. I was like, man, I have to go and draw these for myself to see how he's thinking about this stuff. And I think trying to imitate that, I think uh there's some importance in that, into learning how, someone like Frank's thinking. And so this was, the blue circles are the circle and the red circles are representation of the square
Mm,
in a three-dimensional view.
hmm.
So he
Yeah,
goes into this further in his lectures, and it's pretty crazy.
I don't. You seem like you even taken it a little bit further because all he did was just counter rotate the set of circles on the flower of life there to kind of nest them in there, and you did rotation again there or
Yeah,
something.
the purple circles are, the big purple circles are how far they move from going from the square to the circle,
Oh, I see.
the distance.
Yeah.
So then this was another rendition of that motion.
Oh, I love that outer border. That's really interesting looking.
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah, that's another new one for me too. What are those there? Those some golden circles?
Yeah, these were kind of inspired by that whole 19 circles thing too.
So you
And
added that into the 19 circles the way Frank laid it out and added the golden circles to that. Now that's a
mhm,
really intriguing pattern.
mhm,
Yeah, that's really, really interesting.
yep.
Oh, what about the pyramids there? You did some work with the
Pyramids.
pyramids too.
Yeah, so the middle pyramid would be called the Russian pyramid,
Hmm.
and these all have to do with phi ratio. So it's like, it would be tough for me to explain, but like they're based on phi, and then the one to the left is the Nubian pyramid,
Uh-huh.
and then the one to the right is the Giza. And so I kind of had all of them, all the three um, special pyramids, if you will. I had them all there, so you
Yeah.
can kind of visualize the difference. And they say the Giza is more relaxing energy, and as it gets taller, it's more energizing.
Mm.
And I really liked the taller pyramids at the time. I still do. I still think they're awesome. They're not seen a lot either.
Yeah, I think I read in a book that there's quite a number of them spread out through Russia, uh,
Mm.
throughout the landscape there that they've been erecting over the years.
Yeah, it's really interesting to think how they constructed them, how they knew about this stuff.
Yeah.
They, the history there. It's pretty crazy.
There's a book by Malcolm Stewart, the Star Cut Diagram book, Patterns of Eternity. There's going to be a reprint of that book coming out in September because it's out of print. But that he talks about those pyramids in that book, and I think he does show a diagram of how to construct them hand drawn.
Oh wow. Yeah, cool. This was Frank Chester's Trinity form from the
Mm.
19 circles. That's one view, and this was a ongoing project for me to see where this is coming from and what is really behind all this. Because as he says, this is the archetypal form, meaning it doesn't really get any higher. This is the
Mm.
key form to where everything's coming out of.
Mm.
So I that whole thing blew my mind too. So I'm doing the investigation into that.
Cool, cool. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing that. Did you what'd you do with oh, that's good. Yeah, great. No worries. Um, well, thanks, Hunter, for sharing all that awesome work that you did, even some of the things you were following prior. It really looks like you had quite pretty good acceleration that happened there once you got working with those phi circles and gave you some opportunities to branch out and kind of get some of those creative ideas that are kind of budding forth in you and get them on paper and into form. So
Yeah.
hopefully it gave you some good tools.
Yeah, like I said, it just started really to make sense after learning the phi and the different patterns. It was like there's a lot more here than just flower of life. There's
Hmm.
other ways of constructing and understanding this etheric knowledge.
Mhm.
So, um, so yeah,
Well, yeah, I think you've got, what you said you're 24. So, I mean, wow, got 20 years on me. Like I really started getting into this, 5, 6 years ago, drawing a little bit, really took it seriously like 2 years ago. Started sharing like a lot of the insights that I've had that I've been sharing more publicly have really come together in like a year that you're getting, right? This is what you're getting. And all of a
yeah,
sudden, you're going to take this material and like bring it way further. And you've got all your other interests and passions. So I'm just seeing like quite a bright future. And especially because you're carrying, that joyful spirit inside around that, what this brings to you, that's going to
yeah,
emanate and go into the forms that you're doing and things like that. So I know you mentioned some interest in healing and integrating the light technologies that you're interested. You want to add a little bit more so everybody gets some more flavor, because maybe in time they'll be having Hunter Hughes's Sacred Geometry with Hunter Hughes channel.
yeah. So I mean, it's really an awesome story. So as I was saying, I went through a lot of health things, emotional, hard times, and one day I was in my room, not really in the best mood, and I looked on the wall, and I had a spectrum on my wall. I had like this holographic constructive paper, and I was so mad. And I looked at that, and it just like went away. I could not be as angry looking at these colors. So I was like, I'm going to investigate what is going on here. Maybe there's something that would help me with my emotional state. So there's a woman, Lisa Bearsweet. We go back. She used to she works with me energetically and stuff. So she gifted me a book, and in it talked about color therapy. There's a whole chapter on it, and specifically I was interested in this therapy called spectrochrome because it was talking about how they government agencies were basically going after this guy. They burned his books. They hampered this technology that he came out with. And so I was like, oh, I got to get these books. I got to find them. Like, they're burning them. I want to read them. So there's something they don't want us to know. So I looked this up, and then here I looked up spectrochrome, and it said it originated in Malaga, New Jersey, which is a community in my town.
Oh,
And
wow.
I was like, this is unbelievable. So I called up. He has two sons that are still alive. His one son, Darius, he's running the whole thing. His other Dinshaw's other son, he isn't doing as well health wise. So I talked to Darius. He's 94 now, and this is just what he does. He dedicates all of his time to calling. He takes people's calls, and he gives his information and what he knows about the therapy and how to start. So he told me how to start. I went out, I bought the gels, and I started using it. And within 1 week, I couldn't even believe like something changed in my health, and I didn't know. It was pretty crazy. So I was very interested, and then about 7 months later, I found an ad. Someone was selling a spectrochrome machine, and I bought this thing for $200. It's from the 1930s, and had the original glass. And so I started using this, and through my whole use through the system, I really started to understand and start to create ideas of how to innovate this and make it better. And I found some flaws, and then I basically came up with a whole concept for a whole new machine that would give you 360 colors. It would be able to dial in exactly what you needed. It would have the correct um, color band, because that's the whole thing with the modern color therapy. It's really not optimal the way they're doing it with the LEDs and the narrow bands. And they're really only using red. You've
Mm.
probably seen it a lot. It's a lot of red light, sometimes blue. They investigate other colors, but Spectrochrome is really important because it uses 12 colors, and really the only system that uses magenta, purple, and scarlet, which are really vital, and some conditions do not even budge if you don't use these colors. And I had this issue with myself where I couldn't figure out why something wasn't working. As soon as I used magenta, my whole condition was improved. So it's really unbelievable. And I think Sacred Geometry felt like a similar energy because colors are endless, geometry is endless, and it's how can we find these keys into using these natural elements in improving our life in our lives,
Hmm.
basically. And Dinshaw, he figured out how to use these colors, how to place them, uh, how to position yourself with north and south, forecast times. It has to do with planetary things with the moon. It was really expansive stuff, and he laid out a whole system of how to use colors.
Wow, sounds like you've been on an awesome trail, and it sounds like it sounds like you're going to have and already have quite a lot to contribute in your knowledge and relationship to that, and dovetailing into sacred geometry and other ways. You're really working with light technology, literally with the work you're doing there, and of course sacred geometry, language of light, so integrating that with structure and form and geometry, that really brings things together, like projecting that through forms and things like that. I mean, there's endless possibilities and ideas you probably can come up with.
Yeah.
So I look forward. Is there any way right now that viewers can learn more about that, or there a website that you're associated with, blogs? What do you got going on? So people.
Yeah. So Thomas Joseph Brown was a science researcher that I reached out to pretty early on when I discovered spectrochrome, because he started a website. It's called spectrochrome.com.
Uh-huh.
And I encourage everyone to go to that and read up and learn a little about what this system's about.
Mm-hmm.
And he added me on there to help maintain the site. I haven't done a whole lot with it yet, just because of time and different things I'm doing right now.
Yeah.
But I plan on being more active. Eventually I'm gonna have my own site. Don't have one at the moment. So
Well, great. You're working towards it, and I think that you've got the passion, and it seems like the trail's almost being led for you. How often does the head of this organization, the founder of it, working with this, is in the town nearby, and you're connecting with the relatives.
yeah.
So it seems like there's a path that's being presented, and you're just on it, right? And that's often associated with our own personal trials and tribulations and our own healing journey, because that's what the impetus is, to kind of reach in and find those new insights. Comes from a place within inside ourselves, that
Yeah.
needs that love and care.
Yeah, and the synchronicities were off the wall with numbers, and the machine number being 111, and taking hardware off and there being 111 on that. And like the time of day I go to pick up the machine is like 144 or 441. Like it was just off the wall with these numbers. So now it's been incredible. And I know I'm meant to do it and pursue it and bring the most optimal color therapy system to the world. And I might face some, resistance. I don't know, but I have to at least try. So
Yeah. Well, keep me posted, and maybe it's once things continue to get more gelled for you, and you got more under your belt in terms of how you're sharing your love for this material and helping people. We'll do some video down the line, whenever that might be, kind of give an update. And but I think that's probably good for that overview. And yeah, I feel probably get into, unless there's anything else you want to add in, Hunter. I feel pretty complete within our time. We're with about 40 minutes or so in our time here. I like to keep these new conversations pretty short,
yeah.
especially with the apprentices.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the things, when I was hinting at was we have to find the keys on how to use these things in our lives, and it could be through architecture or sacred geometry. This etheric knowledge, it's revealing an organic process, and it's going to clean the earth. It's going to heal the plants. It's going to heal the air. It's going to clean the water. And so this knowledge is absolutely essential for our survival and future. And like the stuff Frank Chester found when, with the heart geometry, maybe we don't even know completely how to use this yet. Maybe there's a way we overlay this information on over our bodies, and it starts shifting our our blueprint, and correcting and balancing uh imbalances and things. I don't know. I think the possibilities are just amazing though.
No, I think you do know, and I think that's why you're on that trail, because you're talking as if you're talking a lot of truth there, and it gives me a lot of hope to hear, you on that path and you on that journey. I know there's so many more out there like you in your age range, of young people who care about the earth, care about one another, want to make a difference, want to make a change, realizing that sacred geometry and other frequencies and light and sound and everything is what we are and what is everything around us. And it's like, well, that's the truth of our beingness. And these
Mhm.
are all the tools that we have that are almost in their infancy stage, but the potential is unlimited. And it only takes that creative spark and spirit that you have, and that I have, and others like us have, to ignite other people's spirit in them, and they find what their gifts are. So it really brings me a lot of joy to hear you talking about this in this way.
Yeah.
And I just have so much appreciation that you joined me for the apprenticeship, and added a little bit more tools that I could provide through my little perspective and angle on things.
Mhm.
And looking forward to the continued collaboration and overlap, of the different gifts. And I think that's how all those differences are going to really that's all those differences are really going to come to be. More people coming together in that context.
Yeah. I mean, 100%. And I think I have like one more thing to touch on, and kind
Mhm.
of want to pick your mind about how do you think we're going to start discovering more of these geometries of the body and organs, and these irregular symmetries that we might not be able to find in patterns all the time.
Mhm.
You know.
Well, I think it takes accessing that creative, intuitive insight. It takes not being afraid to go into the unknown. To try something new out, to kind
Mhm.
of break out of the box, to feel into those subtle energies that are around, and start to trust and believe those internal instincts that you have, that guidance that's being received. Finding out how to communicate that in a way that becomes clear, and don't give up on it. Like, keep at it, keep trying to whittle, work on that. Like, Frank is such a beautiful example of that. Frank Chester, with
Mhm.
his research on the heart, he had an idea about building the seven-sided form. No, at the time he didn't know if anybody tried it. He started working with it. He put it through all these transformational elemental processes, spinning it around a vortex. He starts coming up with something that looks like a heart. It leads him to the connection to the earth, building all these. I mean, that's how a kind of seed idea that's like in the ether really is, like, your antenna is up for it. And the only thing is your antenna, that receiver you have, are you aligned and attuned with it like a tuning fork to receive it? And that's where the healing work, I find, really comes into it, to have
Yeah.
that ability to be receptive to that guidance and message of, like, what's that gift that wants to come through. It's going to be different potentially for everybody, and you're going to find people that commingle and collaborate, providing the right information at the right time, and then you're in the flow with it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's, it could be psychic transformation, and we start seeing geometries, or um, we start working with contours, and then maybe different views. We can use dowsing. We can try to use these different, but it is basically tapping into this unseen. And I don't know how in the world Frank Chester stayed so motivated, because he was like, he must have felt, people around him must have like thought he was maybe crazy, because what is he doing with this stuff, and where's it going to go? And
Uh-huh.
it's unbelievable, his will, how confident he was through that. And he's still going. He's still
Exactly.
it's
Yeah.
unbelievable.
Well,
But yeah, we
that's
have
true.
to trust ourselves, and we have to stay on course with, our heart and what drives us and what we're passionate about.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and find any little person you could find, other person that you can connect with and resonate with around, because that really helps along the way. But there's a lot of putting yourself out there and really feeling like you might have to be standing alone sometimes to present what it is that you feel is moving through you, and be open to taking in new information and changing that course if it seems like it's not panning out that way too. See, I mean, so it has to have that in it too. The openness.
yep.
Um, but yeah, I'm really, really very thrilled about our conversation and thankful that you shared your amazing work with us. And thanks for being part of the apprenticeship. And I just want to let our viewers know I'm running another apprenticeship coming up in June. It's June 6th, it's starting, another 8 weeks. I know at least here in the Northern Hemisphere, it's summertime, so it's going to be tough to want to be in there for 8 weeks during those summer months. But if you feel in the call to learn, draw, building forms, everyone I do is going to be different. We're going to do some of the same material, but for me, it's a never-ending bubbling well. So what you get is going to be continuing on my path and journey too. So if that interests you, there'll be a little note in the description. Check that out. And I'll put any links that Hunter wants me to have there about the material on the light therapy. Maybe you could send me some of those, Hunter. And just really, thanks, Hunter, for coming out for this short little interview. And I'm wishing you an awesome rest of the day. I'm wishing our viewers an awesome rest of the day. And Hunter, feel free to say goodbye to the folks if you want to add anything.
Yeah. George is a great teacher. And, that last one I had a little hard time, and he took his time with me. Appreciate it. And I had a great time, and I encourage anyone, if you have any interest in environmental sciences or even healing, anything, I think this is something that is good for anybody to learn. I really think it should be in our education when we're young, but didn't work out that way. But look, I'm here now, so
That's a good point.
having a great time with it. So
Yeah.
that's all I have to say. And
All right, sweet, Hunter. That was awesome closing. And thanks for everything that you shared in there. And we'll definitely be in touch. And thanks again, viewers. I'll be having more great content. Please subscribe if you like this. Check out my Patreon and YouTube, the website and whatnot. But yeah, much love and appreciation, everybody. Thank you. Bye-bye. See ya.
bye.